Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to another thought provoking episode of our High Standards Keeping You Single. Let's Rethink Marriage. I'm your host, Sister Fathima Farooqi, and it's always a pleasure to have you with me as we dive into the delicate and deeply personal world of relationships, marriage, and Islamic values. So far in this series, we've explored some essential questions. What really counts? Redefining your standards. Beyond the checklist, what should truly matter? And compromise versus settling, striking the right balance. Today, we are diving into a topic that many of you have asked about and one that often causes the most tension. Family and culture. How much should they shape your choice of spouse? Let's be real here. If you're looking for a spouse, you're not just marrying one person. In many ways, you're also marrying into their family and by extension, their culture. Family dynamics and cultural expectations can play a significant role in your decision, and that's not inherently a bad thing. But here's the question: how much weight should these factors hold, and where does Islam fit into all of this? To start, let's acknowledge something important. Family and culture often shape our values, our worldview, and even our understanding of what makes a good spouse. In many ways, these are positive influences. Families often want what's best for us, and cultural traditions can add richness and beauty to a marriage. However, problems arise when cultural norms or family preferences overshadow the guidance given to us in Islam. This is where things can get tricky. As Muslims, our ultimate compass is the Quran and the Sunnah, and these should guide our decisions above all else. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "If someone proposes marriage to you whose religion and character satisfy you, then you should accept it. If you do not, there will be trials on the earth and the spread of corruption." Notice what's emphasized here: religion and character, not wealth, not ethnicity, not even family status. Yet, in practice, how often do we see families rejecting perfectly good proposals because they don't align with cultural expectations? Let me share a story that captures this dilemma perfectly. A sister I know was deeply committed to her faith and had met a brother who was equally practicing. They shared the same values and aspirations for their deen, their dunya, and their akhirah. But there was one issue. He came from a different cultural background. Her family was adamant that she should marry within their own ethnicity, citing language, traditions, and even what the wedding pictures would look like as reasons. Despite her efforts to explain that this brother's character and deen were exactly what she had been making dua for, the family refused. Heartbroken, she let the proposal go, only to regret it deeply later when she realized that the qualities she truly valued in a spouse had been overlooked for the sake of cultural conformity. She was extremely heartbroken. This isn't to say family input doesn't matter. Of course it does. But it's crucial to distinguish between what is rooted in Islamic principles and what is purely cultural. Now, let's take a moment to understand why families might react this way. Often it's out of love and concern. Parents want their children to feel at home in their marriage. They worry that cultural differences could lead to misunderstandings or conflicts down the line. And let's be honest, they're also thinking about what the community might say or whether our child would end up being a divorcee. But here's the thing: while these concerns are valid, they shouldn't override the qualities that truly make a marriage work. Shared values, mutual respect, and a commitment to the deen are what sustain a relationship, not whether both parties eat the same traditional dishes or speak the same mother tongue. So, how do you navigate this? When should you honor your family's wishes and when should you gently push back? Here are a few guidelines to consider. Respect your parents' role. In Islam, honoring your parents is a core value. Their advice and perspective come from a place of love and experience. Always approach these conversations with great respect and a lot of patience. Educate them with wisdom. If your family's objections are rooted in culture rather than Islam, take the time to explain to them the Islamic perspective. Share relevant hadiths and Quranic verses that emphasize deen and character over other factors. Seek a mediator. If all else fails, Sometimes emotions can run high and communications breaks down both parties. In these cases, involving a trusted scholar or community leader or someone who's wise in the family who would stand by you can help bridge the gap. And always make istikhara. Ultimately, seek Allah's guidance in your decision. If it's good for you, Allah is going to make it easy for you. And if it's bad for you, it will push back and Allah will replace with something that is better, inshallah. Istikhara is a powerful tool that can bring clarity and peace of mind and make things easy for you. Let's address an important reality. While culture can add flavor to our lives, it should never take precedence over Islamic principles. Many cultural traditions, though cherished, often originate from non-Islamic practices and can sometimes conflict with the teachings of the Quran and Sunnah. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ warned against blindly following practices that deviate from Islam, and he said, "Whoever imitates a people is one of them." This hadith reminds us to critically assess cultural norms and ensure they do not lead us away from our faith. I've heard of many couples from two different cultural backgrounds. One specific story of a brother and sister who shared a deep commitment to their deen and had aligned their priorities according to Islamic values stand out the most to me. However, their families insisted on extravagant wedding traditions that included elements not sanctioned by Islam, such as unnecessary lavishness and rituals borrowed from other communities. Instead of complying, the couple decided to simplify their wedding, focusing on a beautiful nikah and walima ceremony grounded in Sunnah, though initially met with resistance. Focusing on a beautiful nikah and walima ceremony grounded in Sunnah, though initially met with resistance, their decision inspired others in their circle to rethink cultural excesses and return to Islamic simplicity. It's not about erasing culture entirely, but ensuring it does not overshadow the essence of Islam. Traditions should be tools to enrich our lives, not barriers that lead us to compromise our faith. When faced with cultural expectations, always ask, is this rooted in Islam or is it a bid'ah that could mislead us? An innovation that could lead to sinning. By prioritizing deen over cultural conformity, you set a foundation for a marriage that truly pleases Allah and stands the test of time. At the end of the day, marriage is a deeply personal decision, but it's also a journey that involves multiple stakeholders. Balancing the expectations of your family, the influence of culture, and the teachings of Islam is no small feat. But with dua, sabr, wisdom, and open communication, it's absolutely possible. Ask yourself, am I making this decision based on what pleases Allah? If the answer is yes, then trust Allah will place barakah in your choice, even if it's met with initial resistance from others. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this episode has given you clarity and confidence to navigate the sometimes complicated dynamics of family and culture in your journey to find the right spouse. Remember, you're not alone in this. At Pure Matrimony, we are here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, stay true to your values, keep your heart open, and trust in Allah's plan for you. This is Sister Fathima Farooqi signing off. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.